because Alexander Volkanovski moved up to challenge for the lightweight title. They created a featherweight interim title fight between Mr. Yair Rodriguez and Josh Emmett. And Yair Rodriguez shined once again. He defeated Josh Emmett by submission via triangle choke at 4 minutes and 19 seconds of round number 2. Yair getting it done with jiu-jitsu. And I'll just say right now at the top of this, I think Yair Rodriguez with good jiu-jitsu is a very scary thing for the 145-pound division. Omar, let me throw it over to you first this time. What was your take of Yair's tremendous performance against Josh Emmett, winning interim
fucking
gold?
Man's right there. I told you, Yair Rodriguez is a fucking animal. Love that kid. And let's be very clear about the jiu-jitsu portion of things. That jiu-jitsu move, pure 100% mercy for Josh Emmett, because Josh Emmett was getting fucked up, something awful on the feet. His ribs couldn't have thanked Yair more for getting him choked out. I don't even know how many ribs Josh Emmett has now. I don't know if they're cracked in like 3 different places. He's got like 30 different ribs now on one side. It was a bad time for Josh Emmett that night. The body kicks were absolutely nasty. I was definitely that guy in the bar yelling, "Kick him! Fuck him! Give him some more!" And Yair was blasting him, man. I don't even know how many body kicks he hit him with. It had to be upwards of 7 or 8. During the duration of that first round or the second round, I can't even remember now. It's all a blur. But what an absolutely amazing fight. What an absolutely, as far as I was concerned, dominant performance. I think the one thing I pointed out last week was Yair does really well with guys that load up and they take way too long, and Yair is way too fast for that. And you can see Josh Emmett was throwing like killers at Yair. But Yair just wasn't there. He was not there for him. And not only was he not there, he was returning at the same time. So Josh Emmett had his half of his face was all red. His body was turning purple. I mean, the triangle choke was pure mercy.
Mark, give us your take on Yair stepping up and winning interim gold.
Yair Rodriguez fought, I think, the most perfect fight I've ever seen him fight. He was so on. He dictated the range masterfully. He stayed just outside of where Emmett's punches could be effective, but like just close enough that his kicks could land repeatedly. He did a fantastic job of moving into strike and then getting all the way out before Emmett could load up, as Omar mentioned. Showed a variety of kicks to keep Emmett guessing at what was coming. He was working up the middle, as I said I thought he would do, because Emmett likes to kind of come in, duck down on a line there, and he was freezing Emmett with that. He was like water in there. I mean, that was the definition of like water. Emmett did have the one big moment where he was able to kind of lunge in and land a good one, and then kind of got a break with Yair falling and letting Emmett work on top to close out round 1. And at the time, I really was like, oh, Yair's fine. But it's crazy because I've since seen quotes from Yair, and he says that he got hit so hard he doesn't even remember anything until the triangle, which is wild that Emmett hits that hard and that one punch was like that. He didn't even remember how he got on the ground for the triangle. But that aside, this fight was Yair all along. It was just constant flow state for him. Even the submission felt that way. Like he set it up so easy, it felt like. And it was just an awesome finish and awesome to see Yair with a belt around his waist, interim or not.
There must have been a real amount of damage already have done to Josh Emmett, because Yair's wrist control, I wouldn't guess that he could have that kind of wrist control on Josh Emmett, because he worked for that triangle. Like, that wasn't something that he fell, that Josh Emmett fell into.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yair had to work at that. He had to get his leg up in the air. He had to wrist control that left arm, pull it down to get his arm, to get his leg over, wrap the other one across, push the right one over his body. That was a step by step by step by step triangle choke, and Josh Emmett did nothing about it. And I'm assuming it's because he couldn't do anything about it. The damage was done.
Yeah. Yeah, his ribs were torn apart, as you said.
Yeah, man.
He was getting obliterated to the ribs.
I want to know if he broke something. Because those are the type of
Yeah, I
kicks
haven't
that
heard.
fuck you up.
Yeah. So we know what's next for Yair, and it's probably going to be a title unification bout, most likely. What do you guys think? Omar, what do you think?
You know, I wonder, because let's say it's not, right? Then who do you give the next title shot to, I guess, at this point?
Aren't you not allowed to give somebody else a title shot? That's the whole point of this.
No,
I mean-
he's saying the interim title shot.
Right. Like Yair would essentially defend the interim
Yeah.
belt.
He's saying if Volk fights Islam again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to
It's
give
so weird.
the
Is there a
winner.
precedent for that?
Oh,
No.
yeah, that's happened before.
Who's
Somebody has
defended an interim belt?
An interim belt?
Nogueira defended an interim belt.
Oh,
I'm
look
pretty
at you.
positive against Frank Mir.
Really?
I
didn't
think there have been others as well. I could swear that when Mir beat Nogueira, that was an interim belt.
Well, I'll make my pick, and I'm going to do the Googles. I do think the winner of Max Holloway, Arnold Allen, should probably get a shot.
Yes.
I think
correct.
Arnold Allen obviously should be getting a title shot, especially with the performances that he's had. And if he gets through Max Holloway, how do you not give that kid the shot? And then Max Holloway versus Yair is a rematch. The first one was an absolute banger. This one has gold on the line. I also think that one works.
Yeah. I'm of a similar mindset. Just quick on the interim title. Yeah, I think there's more than one example, but this example was that Nogueira had won an interim title from Tim Sylvia after Randy Couture stepped away. Then Couture came back and fought Brock, and Brock was the true champion. And then Nogueira defended the interim title against Frank Mir to see who would fight Brock. And Mir won, and then fought Brock to unify. But and I do think there's at least one other I want to look myself of an interim getting defended. But yeah, I agree. If obviously we may just see Volk and Yair, which would be fucking awesome, and I would love it. If we do go the route of an immediate rematch between Volk and Islam, then yeah, I think there's a lot of people in play. I think that I shouldn't say a lot of people, 3. I think that the winner of Max and Arnold Allen could absolutely fight for that title. And I don't think it's crazy to give Brian Ortega that shot returning from injury, considering he never actually lost to Yair Rodriguez. So I think he could potentially step right back in, since Max and Allen is not till like 2+ months from now. I don't think it would be crazy for them if Volk gets booked to be like, all right, we're going to do Yair and Ortega. So yeah, I think there's options. I think we could see a handful of different things potentially.
Yeah, definitely, especially considering Brian Ortega looks like he's hitting pads already. It looks like his shoulder's healed
Right.
to a good extent anyway. Maybe he's not 100%. I don't know. But from a timeline perspective, I would imagine early summer would probably work.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Poirier is close to this mix too. I'd have to imagine he needs another win before he could actually be fighting for a title. So he's not quite there.
Honestly, give him Josh Emmett.
I was just going to say that. He would make a lot of sense to fight Josh Emmett.
Yep.
To Poirier or I would say Evloev. Either one of those guys who are like kicking down this door. I think it's kind of Josh Emmett's time now to say, all right, you got to test one of these guys.
I feel bad for Josh Emmett, man. That kid, I know he had a lot of momentum, and like I feel like he was feeling himself, and he got wrecked in this fight. And I think if he fights Topuria, I think he gets wrecked again, man. And I don't know what that's going to do for that man.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick him to beat Topuria or Evloev, to be quite honest.
Those are such different fighters, those two guys. But yeah,
Yeah.
Emmett versus Topuria would be nuts.
Oh, 100%.
Because Emmett can bang with anybody at featherweight. Anybody.
But I think that kid would get slept by Topuria, though, if we're being honest. Like, Topuria is he's a bad motherfucker, that kid.
He really is. He really is, man.